Hi, I'm Anna Lubelska and I'm leading a team setting up a peace museum and education centre, and we want to have it in London, the capital of the world. We're calling it the Peace Building because it will be a building, obviously, as a peace museum where people can come and visit, and also because it's about peace building, so building peace. Our vision is for a really attractive building in somewhere in London. Doesn't have to be zone 1, but ideally zone 1, but could be somewhere in some of the areas where there's lots of exciting things going on already and new buildings and projects. And we want it to be obviously very attractive, beautifully designed, with a lot of light, feeling very inspiring and also accessible. So ideally a new build that people can get into very easily, maybe in a park, ideally. And the point of it is that it will be a beacon of hope, which we all need at these times, at COVID and terrible bombing in Lebanon and everything else that's happening in the world. Especially the younger generation will appreciate having somewhere to go, which isn't about ancient history or terrible destructive wars, but is somewhere where they can learn about positive things that are happening in the world. So I'm just going to give you a tiny bit of background, then tell you a bit more about what we want to have in the museum, and finally just a few words about what's happening now. So I'm, as I said, I'm Anna, Polish background, and my parents' families really suffered in the war. You might know, if you know about Poland, stuck between, Russia and Germany. And so a massive impact on my family and on my life. So I grew up without grandparents or uncles and aunts, and my own parents were, they really sort of suffered psychologically and emotionally because of the losses and hardships they had endured as a result of the World War II. So really that's where my lifelong motivation comes from, to build peace. Anyway, a few years ago, as a result of many years of working with children and families and in education and community development, I got the idea of how we could be doing a lot more by working together through schools to encourage the younger generation to be peace builders. We set up a peace award scheme, Peaceful Schools Award scheme, and also we've got a book, which I've got here, How to Be a Peaceful School, which has got contributions from our peaceful schools and head teachers and all sorts of people. And we also have a website, peacefulschools.org.uk. So do have a look, and I'm sure you'll find it very interesting. Now, a couple of years ago, I was in Norway and I popped into the Nobel Peace Centre. It's called the Nobel Peace Centre. And I was absolutely inspired. It was just brilliant. They even had Malala's clothes that she was wearing when she was attacked and nearly killed. But they had so many interesting things, all the Nobel Peace Prize winners, and just so much of interest of what's going on around the world. And I thought, God, we need one of those in London. London, a city which is a lot to do with wars. Look at Waterloo Station, all those war museums and monuments. So we do need a peace museum in London. It's just common sense. So then I looked into it, and lots of peace museums around the world to learn from and to interact with, which is great. I put together a team of people and created a charity with trustees, and we have patrons and ambassadors and advisors, people who are sort of peace experts in the fields of campaigning, writing books, publications, and researching. And we also have a peace historian as a trustee. I'm very optimistic that we will achieve our goal of setting up a peace museum, because it really is much needed and we have the right people involved. And our sort of common aim, apart from obviously getting the Peace Museum, is that the reason we want that is because we want to have a place that builds capacity in what we're already doing in terms of peace, but also that's a focal point to help motivate people to move from finding war interesting and exciting to putting their attention and resources and efforts into peace for a world at peace, into building a culture of peace as opposed to a culture of war, which is essentially what we all live in. So what will we have in the Peace Building? We will have exhibitions, obviously, because it's a museum, temporary and permanent, and we'll have conferences, concerts, art, performances. We're going to have, training workshops, library, research library, cafe, bookshop, the usual things, and a peace garden, obviously, outside, hopefully in, a big garden with maybe a playground, and some space for memorials for people who've been victims of violence. So we will tell the stories of heroines, peace heroes and heroines, like the Nobel Prize winners, and then also courageous, determined people all around the world who are building peace and reconciliation in sort of troubled hotspots. And we will also, of course, mark the United Nations International Day of Peace, which is every September on the 21st of September. But we've been busy laying the foundations. We've got a 5-year strategic plan. We're registered with the Charity Commission as a charitable incorporated organisation, a CIO. We've had help with branding, and I've commissioned architects, and we've got a lovely initial development brief with pictures of lovely museums around the world and our ideas for our special London Peace Building. We've consulted very widely, and we're working in partnership with organisations like the Imperial War Museum, who've actually been very helpful, and the Museum of London. So, finally, just to say that we're networking, we're reaching out, and we invite you very much to join with us and contribute to this fantastic enterprise, which will bring hope to so many and attract, educate and inspire generations and generations to come. It will be as I've said before, the Peace Building will be a place where we can build a culture of peace together, which will be of benefit to generations and generations to come. That will be our legacy. That will be my legacy. I'm devoting 10 years to it, by which time I'm going to be 80. So do join us, and we will be developing lots of ways that you can contribute. If you give us a lot of money, then we will name the centre after you, obviously. Or we can name rooms after you, or put up your contributions at the entrance, like at the Design Museum. So we're looking for help with funding, and also people that are good at location finding. Thank you very much.